How to make a conceptual framework. 1. Choose your topic. As a researcher, there are many aspects of the world you can choose to investigate. However, the important thing to consider is that not all the resources of the world are available to us. Moreover, the research may also be time-bound. As such, one should choose a topic that they consider to be comprehensively achieved within the resources that they have and within the time they are allotted. 2. Make your research question unlike the topic, which can be a broad area of study. The research question has to be specific. The exact aspects of who, what, where, how, and why have to be clearly laid out. This is where one of the most important aspects of your conceptual framework will come in. The research question is a clear and arguable question, which is where your research will revolve. In order to have a concise conceptual framework, your research question should be one that you are truly curious about. A reason why the research question is an essential part of your conceptual framework in your overall research, this is what puts the focus and path of your study. It avoids the chances of getting lost as you write the paper. 3. Conduct a review of the literature. Doing a review of literature is an action where a researcher studies published works by reliable sources related to the topic. The purpose of having a literature review is to let you and your readers know about the existing ideas and information there are on your chosen topic, and as well as the weak and strong points of it. Some of the key things you should remember when doing the review of literature is that it should be connected to the topic, synthesize the results of the publications you've read, and recognize the areas where there is a lack of information or insufficient evidence to prove the claim. By having a review of literature, this narrows down what you will be putting in your conceptual framework. 4. Choose your variables. Since you've done in your research, by this time, you will already be able to identify and pinpoint the variable that has been discussed in the publications you've studied and try to make a connection or decipher how they are linked. As you must have already read a lot of literature, you will find that there are many possible variables to choose from when conducting your study. However, when creating research in general, it's important that you only choose the most important variables, as not all of them will be significant. You must have read as much scientific literature. You should be able to discern the important ones by this point. And when creating a conceptual framework in particular, even though you can choose all the variables in the world, it would be best not to, since too many variables in a conceptual framework will be confusing. Though it is also not a good idea to choose too few variables, or else your study might be too simple. As also mentioned in the previous step, you have to find the right level of intricacy in your study that will fit within your resources and time allocation. 5. Choose your relationships. Now that you have chosen your variables, you have to choose how these variables are related to one another. Given that you have already read much literature on your topic, you should already be able to define how each of your variables is connected to one another. This is especially important to note, as this will largely impact how your conceptual framework will look like once you start making the diagram. 6. Create the conceptual framework. Now that you have achieved all the previous steps, the final step is to illustrate the diagram. How you illustrate the diagram will differ on a case-to-case basis, but generally, variable names have to be laid out clearly and put into rectangles. Variables have to be connected with lines and arrows, and the arrowheads will differ depending on the nature of the relationships. Single head arrows are for relationships that are one-directional, A affects B and B does not affect A, and double-headed arrows are for relationships that are two-directional, A affects B and B also affects A. Also, lines do not have to be limited to connecting only two variables, A and B. Some relationships can be between more variables, A affects B and also C.
Thank you for watching.